Hi everyone, I am Ramji Bakul. Let me represent to you the topic of affirmative action as a positive discrimination. Let's begin with the positive discrimination. It is a type of discrimination in which someone is favored by being treated differently in a positive way. It is the process of increasing the number of employees from marginalized communities such as ethnic minorities, women, and persons with disabilities. In businesses where they have previously been neglected by identifying with those qualities initially, and then we talks about the law, affirmative action is permissible, whereas passive discrimination is unlawful. It is therefore important to understand the difference between the passive discrimination and affirmative action when looking to diversify of your workforce. It is therefore important to understand the difference between passive discrimination and affirmative action when looking to diversify of your workforce. And of course, it is designated as a positive since the organization are validated those marginalized employees they hired who are equally qualified in the position they take. It may occur in the workplace if someone is employed or promoted because they belong to a marginalized group in attempt to reduce the inequality. As a question, did you know that positive discrimination is not legal in the UK under the Equality Act 2010? Let's begin with the Equality Act 2010. It is legally protects people from discrimination in the workplace and in wider society. It replaced previous anti-discrimination laws with a single act, making the law easier to understand and strengthening protection in some situations. It sets out the different ways in which it is unlawful or to treat someone. On to with the example of that, it might be on organization or appointing someone from an underrepresented group into a role without considering whether they have right skills for the post and with that other candidates who are better qualified are passed over. Positive discrimination is unlawful discrimination. Why? Because in some scenarios, if they are employing someone who isn't the best candidate can have a number of damaging consequences. The first thing is that you may be placing the successful candidate at risk, asking them to carry out a role which they are not capable of and increasing the risk of stress of anxiety. So you're also increasing the risk to their employment reputation amongst colleagues, potentially creating disharmony in the workplace. Other than that, as affirmative action is a form of a government-led policies. It is aimed to assist minorities and underprivileged groups in finding work and gaining admissions to institutions. This strategy was intended to provide disadvantaged groups such as indigenous people the opportunities to strengthen and promote diversity in the communities, particularly in the workplace and educational institutions. Aside from that, the goal of this policy is for companies and education institutions to take affirmative action and stop discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, and gender or national origin when making the admission and appointment decisions. If affirmative action is carried out, minorities and disadvantaged groups will have an equal access to education, employment, and business that will increase the prospect of rising up the social ladder. As of the given example, during the employment application process, candidates are frequently exposed to a message that's supposed to be supports diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Companies frequently give applicants the option of selecting whether or not they identify as a minority or a diverse person. Furthermore, when it comes to education, affirmative action at universities can lead to the affirmation of loans, scholarships, and other forms of financial aid to assist financially disadvantaged students in finishing their studies. This is a common practice in Asia, but the reservation system requires universities and employees and other institutions to have a certain number of seats that will be reserved of people that were previously exposed to class discrimination. In some other cases, the majority of the students came from the province and wanted to study in Manila because of the numerous opportunities. This is an affirmative action from positive discrimination because they will be providing them with additional support so that they can truly take the same action and attend the same education institution as like the others. Promoting education in a work on a commonwealth level, this will be an affirmative action to promote education in society by encouraging women and other previously oppressed groups to attend university and offering them equal opportunities. It results in overall growth and development of human capital and the economy, along with a potentially higher standards of living. Adjustment for those people who are not capable to overcome every barriers that are created in organizations. Affirmative action through positive discrimination are the steps that can ensure the people are fully accessible in any practices of the individuals. As a question, would you think that this affirmative action would lead to the positive discrimination? Yes, of course. For those statements that I already mentioned, aside from when a business is deciding who to hire or promote between top candidates, in this instance, an employer can choose to hire an individual from a generalized group as long as they are qualified and fit for the role as the other applicants. So that affirmative action is designed to encourage and enable members of these groups to overcome disadvantages and avoid discrimination. That will be the topic of affirmative action as a positive discrimination in our organization. Thank you.